MC Championship 33 kicks off later this week, so let's ramp up the hype by introducing all the MCC 33 teams and how your favorites can win the whole event. Stay till the end for my current ranking of the teams. For now, we'll just go in order of the team's announcements and unpack each player as well as the entire team's strengths and weaknesses. From now on, I'm just speaking with a couple notes about each team, which I'll expand on as I talk. No proper script this time. Let's start off with the Red Rabbits, with Sabnap, Ponk, Pons, and V Gumio. This team is familiar to some people as it is 3/4 of the Red Rabbits from MCC 25, but with Pons instead of Foolish Gamers. We last saw the Sabnap and Pons duo in MCC 14. They dominated the event, but in the end they lost Dodgeball, so it wasn't a win. Sabnap will definitely be the in-game leader, as Pons has been dropping out of the top 10 consistently now. He's had a very rough season 3 so far. He's only been top 10 once, and that was in MCC 29 where he finished 9th, so it wasn't like he was confidently within the top 10. Ponk is a very infrequent player, but he's never placed in the bottom 10. And Gumi is, well, usually bottom 10, but can do much better on competitive teams such as the MCC 30 Yellow Yaks. This is an insane PvP team. If you couldn't already tell, they will do very well at Battle Box and survival games, potentially even Sky Battle and Meltdown, but their best game is definitely Parkour Tag, thanks to basically everyone on the team being so good at it. Perlison Moon is back, and joining her on the Orange slots are Orange Juice, Jojo Solos, and Amesy. This is another repeat team pretty much. It's 3/4 of the MCC 24 Cyan Coyotes, with Owen instead of Hannah XX Rose. Pearl is back. This is her first Canon Season 3 event, and she still doesn't have any wins yet. So that begs the question, will Jojo Solos try? Because as we know, Jojo will only really put an effort for these events if they have a player who hasn't won yet. For example, in MCC 29 when they were teamed with Ranbu. Jojo has been traveling a lot recently since TwitchCon. They played Block Wars 7, for example, in a different setup. Owen's first Canon event was MCC 32, which just wrapped up. He finished 14th on a 7th place team and top fragged, so he could definitely compete for top 10. And Amesy just won their first event in MCC 32, and if they are determined, they could easily go with back-to-back wins. As you may be able to tell, this is a really good Sands of Time team. The comms should be up there, and as always, the vibes immaculate. Fruitberries and Captain Sparkle's team on the Yellow Yaks for the 3rd time this season, and this time they're with Shadoon 666 and the Orion Sound. The Fruit and Sparkles duo has been very unsuccessful so far. In MCC 29, their team finished 8th, and in MCC 31, 7th. Fruit came first individual last event in MCC 32, which was his first time since MCC 12. He is undoubtedly now the best Sky Battle player. Ollie won MCC 26 with Fruitberries. The MCC 32 Cyan captains have a redemption in Jordan and Shadoon. Shadoon has mad inconsistent placements, from 35th in his debut in MCC 30 to 10th the very next event which he won. Now, as I just alluded to with Fruitberries, this is a crazy Sky Battle team. It's a good mix of players who can amass high kills and those who can stay alive to secure some survival points, as we saw with the captains who won the final round of Sky Battle in MCC 32. Next up are the Lime Llamas, consisting of Gucky, Ollie Gamers, Purpled, and Snifferish. It should be an awkward POV after that MCC 31 Dodgeball. Just kidding. It feels like the Purpled Sniff duo happens every other event at this. This is their 4th time teaming together. Purpled, as we know, is the GOAT for now. This team is very similar to some of his more recent teams from MCCs 31 and 32, and I think Purpled can definitely help boost Ollie's performance as the predicted 2nd frag. Gucky can do much better than what we saw in their MCC 32 debut. I think it was just first event nerves, plus they won a very chaotic playing for fun team with Tubbo and Sneaksnag. For example, they can definitely crack top 20 as shown in Pride 23. The Llamas should prioritize team games like Grid Runners and Sands of Time, but some movement wouldn't be too bad, such as both parkour games, now that Purpled can consistently finish the hard ending in Parkour Warrior. As usual, very dependent on Purpled's performance, which is always a top 10 anyway, so the team is in very good hands if they choose to try and avoid Purpled losing his 4th Dodgeball in a row if they reach that stage. We're almost at the halfway point now. Wrapping up day 1's team reveals were the Green Geckos, made up of Dark Eyebrows, Upside Down Crinios, Filza, and Ranbu. Ranbu is fresh off the bat from his first win. Maybe he won't try as hard anymore now that he has his coin. On the other hand, everyone else in the team needs their Season 3 dub still. Michaela and Filza teamed in MCC 31, which was Michaela's debut. Now, funnily enough, both times Michaela has played in a Canon event, their team has placed 8th. Filza is supposed to win this event, as he's won every 7th event since MCC 12, so that's MCCs 12, 19, and 26, so surely 33 is on the table. Crinios is underrated for sure. He can easily place top 15 and can even be top 10 potential, for example 7th place in MCC Scuffed. There is no clear-cut in-game leader, but leadership can be split between both Filza and Crinios. This could be a Sands of Time team. Movement may do better for them though, for example Race and to get to the side. New player alert, and it's an exciting one. Kicking off day 2's team announcements were the Cyan Coyotes with Smager, Ethos Lab, Fire Breathman, and Good Time to Scar. Etho was one of the most highly requested content creators to join MCC ever, and well, here he is. Perhaps similar skill set to Scar, maybe hovering around the 25th to 35th placement range, I would assume. Now of course we have fellow Hermitcraft SMP player Scar, who just won MCC 32. There is great chemistry between both Scar and Etho, and of course the team captain Fire Breathman has proven that he can lead an underdog team. For example, just now he had the MCC MCC 32 Yellow Yaks, and he won MCC 30 with Scott. Scott's performance is fairly consistent. He's able to achieve top 20 and sometimes top 15. I think overall communication across this team should be pretty clean, and grid runners should be played late therefore. Now this team is very interesting and unpredictable. It's the Aqua Axolotls with Illumina, Impulse SV, Smallish Beans, and Sneak Snag. Illumina's had a very rough start to Season 3 team placement wise, but still barely hangs on to the top 10 individual. Impulse's placements declined with every event, then made an MCC 32 comeback with 32nd individual, and practiced a bit more for that event too. Illumina and Impulse duo can finally have a redemption after their shocking 10th place in MCC 30. Joel had a disappointing 19th place in MCC 32 on a supposedly stacked team, but I think that was just to get the rust off. He still got first place in MCC Scuff, so no one can take that from him, and therefore he can easily get top 10 in a canon event. For example, not too long ago, he got 9th in MCC 26. Sneak is definitely the wild card here though. His placements vary too much, from bottom 10 in MCC 31 to recovering to 17th in MCC 32. There is strong mechanical movement and combat capabilities across the whole team. It's a scary force in most PvP and movement games. Wally Bear is once again on the blue bats, and now with fellow Bedwars Sweat, Hannah XX Rose, as well as Ant Venom and Sylvie. I really like this. This has come full circle, as last August MCC 24 introduced Ant Venom and Hannah, and now almost 1 year later they're teamed together. Wally most likely top frags, but Hannah will make the team callouts. Both have dipped in and out of the top 10, but together they could push straight back into it. Ant Venom is slowly but surely improving his individual placement. He's been practicing a lot more now. And Sylvie is back with Hannah. That's always a fun pair up, and we should expect another halftime show as always. Sylvie's placement skydived into the bottom 10 since the start of Season 3, but she could force her way out of it, as this is a more competitive team than her MCC's 30 and 31 teams. Another strong PvP and movement team. I think this is one that could definitely compete with Red for Battlebox. The Purple Pandas are the penultimate team with Pizza Hut, CPK, Cubfan, and False Symmetry. I have to say, this is the best team graphic this event, by the way, and look at False flexing all 3 Cannon Winners coins. We've seen iterations of this team in the past where one player is switched out for another, for example, the MCC 10 Orange Ocelots and the MCC Scuffed Cyan Coyotes. But the best team to compare this to is the MCC 20 Yellow Yaks, if you remember them. Cub and False is an amazing dynamic duo. They have teamed many times, and they recently won MCC 29. Pete is always securing the top 10 now, despite appalling grid runners and meltdown performances this season, and CPK hovered right above the top 10 at the start of Season 3, but just broke into the top 10 in MCC 32 with 7th individual. Like the Blue Bats, a very solid PvP team, particularly in Battlebox. Finally, we have the team with a twist, as Tommy Innit puts it. The Pink Parrots feature Beckymon, Jack Manifold, Tommy, and as usual, Turbo. Arguably the best vibes, chemistry, memes, and content this event. But this comes at a cost. They are statistically the weakest team by almost every method of team building, including Scott's own method of course, and they're the weakest by quite a large margin, between 500 to 900 coins, again depending on which method is used. Despite this, Turbo and Jack have a 100% dodgeball entrance rate from MCC's 21 and 24. Tommy is back. His only other canon Season 3 event was MCC 30, where he had a shocking 34th individual. Not that he seemed to care, especially as competition wasn't and still isn't his priority. If the Parrots want to escape this seemingly inevitable fate of 10th place, they must pick PvP as late as possible. And that's all the teams. On screen right now is my initial ranking based on first impressions, but this is guaranteed to change as I see which teams are putting in the most practice and what games are announced, which I'll be discussing later this week when the MCC 33 games drop. Enable post notifications so you don't miss that, and share your predictions in the comments below. For now, see you my club champions.